Good morning. What is up? What is up? Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. Also co-host, co-producer of the Morning Vibe. Also some things I do when I have some extra time. I am also the host and producer of the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Care, also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. And through that collaboration over the last year, I've been able to reach out directly or indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. Also, I am a two-time Canadian Ethic Media Association Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Ryan Knight. What's going on?
Good day, good day. I am, as you say, blessed and highly favored. For those that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage they're in to help them grow their companies exponentially. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights, and we do mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to your house or to your office, clean your car on the spot without water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And the training for the youth entrepreneurship program starts tomorrow. Well, technically, it's the initial info session. So you still have time to register if you have a child at home that is having trouble getting a job for the summer. Please send them our way. And then training actually starts May 14th. So please go to detailing.ca.
All right.
And of course, you're repping PACU.
You're PACU, yes. PACU man, you PACU man.
If you have not pledged yet, go to PACU.ca and make sure to pledge and invest in our own Black-owned financial institution. But good to see you, brother.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, before we go any further, this episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by Caesar's Crown. And Caesar's Crown is owned and operated by Mr. Travis Samuel. All the products for those people who have the beards are made with natural ingredients formulated with men's skin in mind. Check them out online and all their socials where you can start feeling like a king today. A Black man, well, I don't think Black men, just men in general can start feeling like a king. Already kings. They can become higher kings and join the movement, wear the crown. So, what's been going on in your world?
So yesterday was the Mississauga Board of Trade Awards. So shout out to Sheridan College, my alma mater? What do you call it? I'm an alumni of Sheridan. So
it's both alma mater and you're an alumni. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So they won for Employer of the Year. So shout out to Janet Morrison, Renee, and Karen, the team from Sheridan. Yeah, that was great to see. I was invited by Sheridan to be at their table. So seeing them win was awesome.
What a media personality. I love it.
Hey, you got to get the coverage, right? So
distribution. Yes. So it was a good event?
Yeah, as award shows and galas go, similar to the Harry Jerome's, people that are doing great things in the community getting recognized. And yeah, there's a couple Sheridan, students or businesses that were part of their EDGE program. So we have that partnership with EDGE, and they were nominated for awards. And a wonderful lady, I know her more from the work that she's done in Brampton, but Kimberly that works with, Universal Staffing, she won for Business Person of the Year. So shout out to that was amazing to see her getting recognized for that. Because
did she know ahead of time?
I think they did. Yeah, because they had to do like a little video that played. So
okay.
I'm pretty sure they knew. Yeah.
Cool.
So
when are you? So are you going to win next year?
Mississauga is tough. I don't know. We have offices in Mississauga, but I usually lean into Brampton. So maybe I'll put some effort into Mississauga and boost up what we're doing out there.
Okay. What else been going on this week?
The June conference is just around the corner. So for those that don't know, I've been talking about the Federal Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Conference that's taking place June 16th. And we had like a preliminary meeting last week, Thursday, which I was really, I'll say, inspired by seeing over 80 Black organizational leaders attending. And then we're going to try and do a meeting this May as well, this month, and getting prepared for the bigger conference in June. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Lots happening in your world, being a media star, making things happen, bam, 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 etc. So just want to tell people who are watching this live on the replay, we are still having difficulties broadcasting on the Dr. Vibe Facebook page.
Okay.
And it's been going on for almost a week now. And the platform that I use, I told them, this is happening, this is happening. They sent me instructions back. I said, okay, I followed your instructions and it's not working.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on. I've even reached out on their Facebook official page, reaching out to some of their customers who use this software, saying what's going on. So actually, you know, there's actually someone I got you have contact information for that I need to reach out on the back end to find out what's going on. But it's been very challenging trying to figure out this situation for the last week, because that's cutting down our audience. Because I know some people watch on my Facebook page, some on yours, but mine I cannot broadcast live right now, and I'm not pleased.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm not pleased about that at all. And I don't know. And this is, I guess, one of the pitfalls of not having someone you can contact directly. And because you're giving me instructions, I'm following your instructions, it's not working.
Just walk you through it.
Can you take 5 minutes and we do a video call? But Facebook is always, it seems it's a Facebook challenge, but I want to make sure on their end, they're saying, oh, it should work. Okay, well, it's not.
Right.
So can you help me? Do I need to go to
your
Facebook?
should work doesn't help. Exactly.
You know, just a little bit disappointed. So we're working on the Facebook challenge, but probably the best place to see if you want to watch on the Dr. Vibe platform is YouTube. And I prefer people watch on my YouTube channel anyways, because I like to get the analytics up on YouTube, since it's the second most viewed search engine in the world, and it's owned by Google, which helps with SEO, you know, all those things. But I want to have as many platforms as possible, where people can watch it. So if anyone is a Facebook, if anyone's a Facebook expert out there, please reach out to me, because I know Facebook has done an update in regards to their Facebook pages. And I just want, you know, I reached out to someone, they gave me the number of someone, they haven't called me in 3 days. I just want to know that everything's set up well on my Facebook end. So that's my morning. And also another thing, don't know if people know this name or not. Well, he just passed away last night. There was a fairly prominent African-American, Black American gentleman named Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
If anyone has heard his name, and he was quite controversial on his opinions about Black women. Some of this, and I'll just leave it at that. But unfortunately, he passed away last night at 57 years old because of a heart attack. And it's interesting, there are actually some people celebrating his death.
Ouch! Wow.
And I'm not for that. Someone may be controversial and all that.
But is it the gentleman that I guess he had those the comments about women, but then he ended up being like cheating on his wife?
I don't know if that's him. I don't know if that's,
it might be somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. But
why are they celebrating his death? That's wild. Oh my god.
Yeah, and that, I don't think we're that people, and it's interests me a little bit of an interesting segue to the friend we have on today in regards to mental health. That we're going to have a chat to comment about that. So I'd like to say good morning to Marlon Stephen. Good morning, Marlon. Good morning, Farley. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking time. Everyone else watching us live on the replay, much appreciated.
And sorry, really quickly, there was another gentleman that was prominent in the Black community here.
Yes.
That passed away, Michael Carter. And yeah, I had met Michael pretty recently, and he's the one that really got me more involved with, I'll say, politics and being in discussions around this Black entrepreneurship program that the federal government created. And I know recently he was sick. I was talking to him just like last week and talking about the meeting that we were having and how to really move the Black community forward. and come to find out on the weekend he had passed away. We had
Oh,
thought he was starting to recover from the illness, but yeah,
yeah,
and it's really
people.
rocked the Black community. I'm seeing a lot of like
Yeah,
Craig Wellington put up a post. Richard from Keep Six, I believe Perry Douglas knew him well. Ray Williams knew him well, and I mean, so many people knew him well. But this
yeah.
really caught people off guard.
Yeah, condolences to both the families of both those gentlemen.
Mhm.
Really unfortunate loss on both. And I want to also say good morning, Charmaine. Good morning, Harris Marketing. Good morning, Tim Frey. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, R.I.P. Michael Carter. Good morning, Dr. Vibe. Absolutely. All right. Yes, and well, yeah, Michael Carter was a soldier. There you go.
100%.
There you go. Thank you, people. And not good when we lose family, but our role then for us who are still living is to continue their legacy. That's the
Absolutely.
important thing. So, as we transition to that, we're going to be having a new friend to this platform. I've had the pleasure of having her on some of my other platforms before, but people may or may not be aware that this is the 71st annual Mental Health Awareness Week. They're running from May 2nd to May 8th. And I've had this wonderful lady on a few times before on other platforms, but we're going to be having her on today on this platform. And a little bit about her background, and she is very much legit. So listen to what I'm going to say, all right? So Lesline McEwan is a registered psychotherapist specializing in culturally informed mental health care in the Black community for over 20 years.
Okay.
20 years through the New Covenant Apostolic Church. Ms. McEwen has a long history of providing culturally appropriate mental health services to the ACB community. In addition to her professional and cultural competence with respect, she's done lots of experience in this and has a lived experience with this subject. So we felt one of the things that's really come to light, especially over the last 2.5 years, is Blacks and mental health. And one of the people I really lean on when it comes to this subject is my friend, Lesline McEwan, and we are having her on today. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
Always
a pleasure. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And you're based in Ottawa?
Yeah, I'm in Ottawa. And as you said before, I've been at this for a while, longer than 20 years, but providing this community service for just over 20 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What got you into this field?
Okay, great. I'm glad you asked me that.
Good.
Okay, so for many, many years, I was a federal public servant. And my last job was with the Supreme Court of Canada.
Wow.
So in mid-career, I quit my job. I went and I did my BA in psychology. I did my master's. Then I went back to the government and paid off my loans and got myself my ducks in a row and started counseling part-time. But then it got to the point where it was overwhelming. So I decided, you know what? I studied for this, so let me just take the dive. And and one of the reasons I did it is I realized that mental health is not something we talked about, and that there were lots of people who were struggling with it and were not getting the help they needed. I know I'm only one person, but if I'm able to help one person, I think that's good. So I went there, and apart from that, there was my own personal experience. So one of the things that we focus on through New Covenant Church, where we give the community counseling, is gender-based violence, right? And I've had experience of that in my past life. Wow. And there was no help. There was nothing. Didn't know what to do. I was lost. And it's just the grace of God while I'm still here. But, so I had quite a few reasons to go there. And I don't regret the change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When you started this journey professionally, how many other people who look like you were doing it?
Well, actually, I didn't see anyone around me in the environment that I was in.
Whoa.
Each time I walked in a room, I'm thinking, it's me again. So there weren't very many, and I find that the people that I knew who said I wanted to do it, a lot of them weren't willing to make the sacrifice, at the age that we were at, because we were, had kids and all that stuff. But they weren't willing to make that sacrifice. And I'm not judging them, because we all have to live our lives the way that it works for us. So there, I couldn't convince a lot of people. None of my kids wanted that stuff, but they're fine though. They're doing great.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, it was just, no, honestly, the room was white.
And I was curious, how do you bridge that conversation around mental health in the Black community? Typically, how do you guide us, to open that conversation to start talking about it, since we typically just suppress it?
Yeah, and you know what? It's education. We starting to put information out there, educating the community. Um, Mental health is not mental illness, and we take care of our bodies, and so we should take care of our emotions, our mind, and getting it across that we're a whole person, and we need to care spiritually, physically, and emotionally, and there's no shame in it.
Yes, yes.
So chipping away at that stigma is really difficult, though.
Right. Well, we want to get to some questions, and also people who are watching live, please feel free to ask questions. We have I'm going to say we do have an expert here, an expert for our people here, not just
Yes.
an expert for our people. So I want to talk about youth mental health. How are youth doing, Black youth doing from your lens since the pandemic in regards to mental health?
Yeah. And, we know that there was a problem before the pandemic. And what the pandemic has done is highlighted it and exacerbated it. The little support they had was taken away. And, according to the CAMH just put a report out in April, and they were giving some statistics about youth mental health. And this is general, but Black people make up 3.5% of the population. So we can extrapolate the numbers from there. So the youth, they are reporting more depression, more suicidal ideation, and it's a big problem, for the young people, and especially in our community, because with COVID, what happened was the supports they had, we're social beings, and the support they had with their friends at school, people they could talk to, extended families, and all that, that was taken away. And so it made it that much more difficult for them.
I just want to follow up on that question. Another question you said about statistics from CAMH, and one of the themes that have arisen over the last number of years is the lack of data when it comes to Black Canadians. Does an organization like CAMH, nationally recognized, how much data do they have when it comes to this subject and Blacks?
Well, I'm going to say not enough. Let me just put it that way. Because the report I read, it said it was all, it's a cumulative thing. It included all the ethnic and all the youth per se, but specifically, it's not broken down. And there is a lot, and that's a problem, There is a big shortage of data on the Black community in mental health, or generally in health.
Right, right. I'm so curious to ask you. I listened to a past elder, Dr. Amos Wilson, that says we are not Black people that are white who happen to be Black. We have completely different experiences. So I was curious to get your perspective on what is that difference with the Black experience, and is anybody studying what we've gone through in order to treat us properly?
You can find the studies coming out of the United States mostly. And one thing we have to remember, that long arm of colonialism is behind us, and it's still following us. And so our experience has to be, and that's why I talk about being culturally informed.
Right.
Because unless you're culturally informed, it's difficult to provide a proper care for the Black community. or as a matter of fact, any community that's different than yours, right?
Right.
Because we all have our biases, our values, our beliefs, our stereotypes. We all have them. It's cultural, and we walk with it. So when I walk into the office of a other counselor, and that's where that person's lens is going to be, unless they make a specific effort to try to be culturally informed and culturally competent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I have another question for you in regards to our conversation today. Is that with what issue with respect to youth and children still needs to be addressed when it comes to mental health, Black children and Black youth? What issues and concerns need to be addressed?
So coming out of the pandemic, I'd say, because we know our kids, they're over policed and all that negative stuff. But coming out of the pandemic, one thing that really needs to be addressed with youth is grief and loss. Because a lot of our 1 in 3 of the population on the front line were Black women. And so they were exposed, in the nursing homes, in the hospitals, they're the PSWs, the nurses, etc. And these are the moms of these kids. And we know they were disproportionately exposed to the virus and death and infection. So these kids have suffered quite a lot of losses, eh? And that needs to be taken in consideration, and find a way of recognizing these youth and children and getting the help they need. Because grieving in adults, it's grief, and yes, it hurts, and we have milestones. But with children, our young people, they're going to grieve and they're going to re-grieve, with each age, each stage they reach, their developmental milestones, a birthday, a graduation, a marriage. And so it's going to become a lifelong thing for those young people, right? And a lot of times, we look at what's going on, and people are not looking past, okay, so this child lost a caregiver, whether it be a mom, a dad, or a grandma, or whatever it may be, and it just stops there. But we have to look way beyond that, because when it starts to take effect at different stages in life, then they're going to manifest in different ways. And we know what's going to happen, right? Our kids are not treated, they're criminalized for their mental health issues.
Right. And I'm so curious, when a child has suffered trauma, even for an adult, are there signs that we can look out for before it manifests in a fully negative way that, let's say, as a parent, we can be looking out for in our children to catch those things ahead of time?
Yeah, and you know what? Each child is different, and it depends on the background, right? Even adults. If I've had previous traumatic experiences, the way I process a current trauma is going to be different than the person who's experiencing it for the first time, right? So with kids, generally, we hope and pray it's the first time, but a lot of them, let's put it, kids are being traumatized every day. Our kids in the school systems, they go, they're bullied, they're discriminated against, they're everything. So they're living, like I'd say, in constant trauma, right? So you have to watch their behaviors. Are they having nightmares? Are they talking about things? Are they eating? Just look for, unusual changes in your child.
Oh, that fantastic. We've got some questions coming in, so let's start looking at them. Charmaine is asking, do you find mental health issues to be highly gender-based?
I'm not sure what this person means, what Charmaine means, but I wouldn't say it's highly gender-based. Men and women have mental health issues. It's just that women are more likely to do something about it.
Gotcha.
Men are taught to be strong, and we don't cry, and we can handle it, and all that. How men are socialized. And so, go ahead.
No, I no, finish that point. I want to go a little bit deeper on what you're saying. So my apologies.
No. So men are socialized to be women too, black women, the strong black woman, right? But men are socialized to be strong. We don't cry. We don't talk about these things. We just grin and bear it. And maybe, we smoke an extra spliff, well, an extra something, or we take an extra drink, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How deep is the trauma in with our people? Because one of the things I always say to Ryan, and he knows, I think he knows where he's going to go, where I'm going to go with this. I see that many Black people are challenged by at least one of these three things, and the first thing I say is trauma.
Yeah.
How, from your lens, from a experienced it, professional, helping our people with it, how deep is Black trauma through your lens?
You know what? It runs very deep. It runs very deep. Because when you think of the background of most Black people in North America, uh, we can't not go back to the effects of colonialism. And it runs deep because it's intergenerational, right? It's passed down. I experienced the trauma. I manage it in a certain way. I pass it down to my children, and it just keeps going on and on and on. So it's deep, and it's to recognize it and try to break that chain.
And
Go ahead, Brian.
I was so curious about how do we prepare our children, especially, hey, I dropped off my kids this morning, and if we're dropping them off in an environment where they're traumatized every day, what can we do to prepare them to deal with it? Or should we be thinking of a completely alternative path for them?
You know what? An alternative path would be great. Unfortunately, that's a way, down the road.
Right.
But what we can do is the way we deal with them at home, with love, with compassion, with building up their self esteem, having them realize, you're a great person, you're special, and help them not to internalize what they're experiencing outside. That's one of the chief ways we can do that, and having really open communication with our kids, no matter what it is. Tell me, because sometimes, as let me speak for myself, as Black parents, we tend to, when the kids are telling us certain things, we either don't want to hear, or we're going to jump at them from our own trauma, and they're afraid to express what's going on with them.
I really want to jump in on that, the importance of what's going on in the home life. If you could talk a little bit about that, how important the home life is when it comes, especially with our youth and Black mental health.
Yes. So I used to see people who would come to me, and they would be talking about their kids and what the kid is doing and what the kid is not doing. And I'm like, let's start with you. What's going on in the home? What are you modeling for your children? What kind of stressors are the kids facing at home? And we know that in, being the group that we are, there is a whole lot of disadvantages, the socioeconomic and all that stuff. So there's stressors in the home, and in many cases, there's abuse and violence in the home. So the kids are facing that at home, right? And so they're absorbing that, they're trying to cope with it, and then they go out and they face something else, and then the behavior escalates into something that, instead of what happened to you, child, it's more like what's wrong with you.
So the approach is coming from more of like a offensive and demeaning. And I look at how I approach my daughter when she brings up stuff, and it is in that lane, instead of the inquisitive approach and asking deeper into what they're talking about, instead of just knowing the answer and dismissing it. But
Right.
that's difficult. That's difficult to kind of humble yourself, especially when you're dealing with your child, because you feel, I know more than this child. I've been on this earth longer. But if we haven't dealt with our own trauma, and we're just a cycle, and this cycle
Mm.
spiraling down.
Yes. And as you say that, I know better, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm older. But then we have to remember that the set of experiences and values and beliefs that we're walking with, we gathered those over the years, right? And this
Right.
child is not at that place. And it kind of comes right back to that being culturally informed, even in your own home.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Another question here. I'm going to Hayton wants to ask, please speak more on the very salient point that mental health is not mental illness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, mental health, we all hope that's where we are constantly because it's on a continuum. We can be functional and well, and we can be at the point where it's affected, we're not functional. So that's when we go off into mental illness, and we can be anywhere along the spectrum at any point in life, because at some point in time we all, we're not at our optimum. And so, but when we say mental health, people automatically think of mental illness. If I say, I went to the doctor and he told me I'm healthy, nobody's going to question that. But if I say I went to check on my mental health, they're going to go, in our community, she's crazy. See, she's going to, no, 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 right?
Look at that.
So it's maintaining that, taking care of yourself. If I find that I am stressed, for example, and I'm not sleeping well, look for those signs that I am not, on the point of the spectrum where it's optimal mental health. I have to look for that and then try to see, what do I need to do? Do I need to speak to friends? Do I need to take a break? What? And keep track of ourselves, right? Because we all have stress every day.
All right. So good comments coming here. Good mental health and wellness starts in the home. Parents must build resilience into them first. Also here, Ray saying, not only is the trauma from our history, but much of it is familiar. Do you think that many of us should have counseling to be the best version of ourselves, to be better spouses and parents?
Yeah, honestly, yes. Because people think counseling is, oh yeah, it's about just mental health. But the same way I would find a friend to discuss an issue with, I could speak to a counselor, because a lot of people, we tend to be quite private. I don't want people to know my business and all that stuff. If I go sit with a therapist and talk for an hour, a lot of times people don't need to go for more than 1 or 2 sessions, honestly. I mean, there are case times when it needs a longer period of time. But if I go and I sit with someone, I say, this is the challenge I'm having. It's getting a different point of view and looking at some alternative, or maybe even being told of resources that you did not know existed.
Evelyn Meyer saying many parents are in need of support. A wraparound program is necessary. Farley saying the way to diffuse the trauma is to ensure our children are engulfed by love. If children don't feel safe, loved at home and or at school, they will suffer parental education and our own schools.
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly.
That's
Ryan,
where,
do you have a question?
yeah, when you're talking about it starts at home, and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's like now we're tasked with raising our children right. And of course, you mentioned the counseling, but how do we even self audit what we're doing to know that we should go get support? Or is it more like an oil change, just knowing, hey, every so often we should be going to talk about things to somebody else? I was curious, like, your perspective on that.
Yeah. So one thing I want to say is, when we discipline our kids, we have to realize that we're not punishing our children.
Okay.
And a lot of parents take that approach. They will do things that's punitive. What we're trying to do is teach them the things they should be doing, or explaining to them, what lays ahead for them. Little kids, parents have this attitude of, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But that's not what we should be doing. We should be telling them what to do. Because when we keep saying don't, we're reinforcing what the things that they shouldn't be doing. But if I keep saying, to a toddler or something, leave your food on the plate. They throw food everywhere. Leave your food on the plate. But I keep slapping them when their instinct is to make a mess. So you reinforcing then the thing that you want them to be doing, rather than, that constant.
Just yelling, don't throw food, don't throw food.
So it becomes punishment rather than a teaching experience. Because you're not teaching me what to do. You're just telling me what not to do.
Right. Comments here. Farley saying, as a people, we are in denial. The impacts of slavery are still manifested through lateral violence, distrust, beating our children, the absence of self-love. Caribbean leapfrog strategy. I like that handle, by the way. Mental illness is a diagnosed mental condition based on brain chemistry. Farley saying communication and role modeling are the best methods of parenting. It's got a lot of stuff going on here this year. You're dropping knowledge bombs. Lesline, you're dropping knowledge bombs. You're on fire here. Another question for you. What is the New Covenant Apostolic Church doing about youth and mental health? What is your organization doing with that?
So we have been working mostly with adults, but what we have been doing now, or what we're working on, is we are working on an app.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a culturally informed mental health app for youth, mental health and wellness app for Black youth, and it's being led by Black youth. The development, they have an input in it. So that's what we're working on currently, and it will be piloting soon. So stay tuned. That's in the works. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. Harris Marketing says West Indies have had a very hands-on way of parenting, very hands-on. How has that affected us with mental illness and how we handle stress?
Mm-hmm. And again, it comes back to, right? What did I learn? What was modeled for me? That trauma we have, my parents' hands-on for me means you beat the kid.
Yes.
That was for me too.
Right. Maybe that's not what he meant. But the way we parent our kids, that's how they're going to learn to parent, Somebody will say, I will never, ever treat my kid the way my mom or my dad or a caregiver treated me. Yet, when we're under stress, we go back to what we know.
No.
Those pathways that have been created in the brain, we go right back to what we know. So I get really upset one day and I start slapping my kid or yelling at my kid or, whatever way I was treated as a child. And then later on, I feel guilty and I can't believe I did that to my child. I said I would never, ever do that. So it's again, it's that trauma, right?
Right.
That continues.
Question from Charmaine. Mental health programs may be viewed as a temporary fix. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends on what Charmaine means by mental health programs. Because in a lot of cases, if behaviors need to change, right? And so if you are helping someone to understand their behavior, where it's coming from, and taking action to change that behavior, if they continue with that practice, it's going to change. Now, there are a lot of people who go to counseling and they're not serious about it. Right. And so they go in and they come out and they say, oh, counseling is no good. Or maybe they didn't get the proper care or diagnosis or something. Now, mental counseling and therapy does not necessarily cure some mental health issues. Say somebody's schizophrenic, for example, or bipolar, whatever. You treat that person. There is medication, because in some cases, medication is necessary. and that person is taking their medication, getting the appropriate counseling, and their condition is well managed, and they're fine. What happens though, a lot of people, once their situation is managed, they stop taking their medication or they stop going to counseling. And I'm fine,
Right,
right?
everything's good now.
It's my doctor said to me, you need to take pills for diabetes or high blood pressure. And I take it for a while and my blood pressure looks decent and I stop taking it. Next thing you know, I end up with a stroke, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. Farley is saying, love the app idea. The key will be to ensure that it is well marketed and then widely adopted by Black youth. What's the pitch? Okay.
Cool.
I don't know if you're at liberty to talk about that at this present
Mhm.
time because you're still in development stage, right?
Yeah, it's going to be available widely, and we have some strong Black organizations behind us who's going to be helping to put it out there, so you'll hear more about it.
I think a very interesting question Harris Marketing has here. Can a white therapist truly understand Black mental health and or trauma? Are we that different?
Hmm.
uh,
Oh boy. Looking forward to this answer.
okay, how do I put this? um uh, to this day, I'd say, when I started first, I'd say 100% of my clients were white. And to this day, I'd say 80% of my clients are white.
Mm,
Hmm? Now, it's the onus is on me as a Black therapist to understand that my experience and that person's experience is not the same.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's my responsibility, and I take it seriously. Now, the dominant population sometimes think that their way is the right way. And so, with the Eurocentric training that we get, we talk about evidence based and all that stuff. And with that training, it's good, but we have to look at the differences and how it's applied. And I am not going to say yes or no to that question, because there are some therapists out there who are from different ethnicities that make an effort, because being culturally informed is a learning experience. You have to learn about the other person's background, their history, what's driving them, why don't they trust us, and accept that, and not be defensive and, okay, so my client doesn't trust me, he or she didn't open up in the first or second session. Diagnosis, paranoia. Hmm?
Right.
good
So
question.
it's not an easy question to
No,
answer. There's some
no.
respectful other counselors out there who are doing their best
Okay,
to be
excellent.
humble, learning from the people they serve.
Ryan, any comments? Because I got more comments coming in. So, anything you want to comment
No,
on as we're going through the journey?
no. At this moment, I'm just listening and
This,
learning.
yeah,
Please, continue.
absolutely. This is wonderful.
Mhm.
I want to know from your lens, Lesline, the impact of COVID has had, or the pandemic. I don't like saying COVID. I just say pandemic. I'm tired of hearing the word COVID. The pandemic
Yeah,
has had on Black women's mental health from your lens.
yeah. Yeah, it's had a huge impact, and what I was saying before about the women who work in the social services, frontline, healthcare, and there are a lot of Black women or racialized women in that group. And already we had, our pre-existing situations. And then with COVID, it just exacerbated it. So it's had a huge impact on Black women, on everybody, but on Black women. You'll find that some people will say to me, oh, it's been so terrible being isolated. I couldn't go out. I had to stay home. And that's good. But then that's not a lot of Black women's experiences. I'm not saying every Black woman is in this situation, but the ones I'm speaking about here, they didn't get a chance to be at home. They're the ones who had to face the fear and take the public transportation and go out there. They're the ones who had to walk into those places where COVID was raging and expose themselves. They are the ones who had to stress about going home to their family. And, I don't want to infect my family. They're the ones who were dying. So it had a huge impact on the health, mental health, not physical and mental health of a lot of Black women. They were exposed, and in some cases, these jobs can't be done remotely. Right. And 1 in 3 of these women are single moms. And so they had to quit their job to take care of their children, which in turn just increased the stressors, the financial, the food insecurity, and, the list goes on and on. So it really had a huge impact there. And that is why what we are doing, and not just on the women themselves, but in their homes, because Black men were losing their jobs too. And there was a lot of stressors in the home. And that's why we saw that increase in gender-based violence across the board. But in the among the racialized community, it is pretty high.
Okay. So and that's something we're not hearing a lot about statistics wise. Especially during the pandemic and post-pandemic, it's what I'm not hearing that's concerning me.
Yeah,
that's my biggest concern. I got some questions here. I think 2 that are I think of the same sort of question. So I'm going to put them up. Tim is asking, what does good mental health look like? How can we gauge ourselves daily to keep in good mental health? And then there's another question here. I think it is, and Hayton's asking, what kinds of things can we do daily to maintain and improve our own mental health? So I thought I would ask those together because I think they're similar questions.
Mm-hmm. And so good mental health, right? When we're in good mental health, we know it. We're functioning, optimally or good. We're getting a good night's sleep. We're having good relations with the people around us. Because one key indicator that something is wrong is when we start having these, how do I say, bad relationships. We're fighting with everybody. There's a problem everywhere we look. There is a problem. But if I'm able to go through my day, of course there are difficulties, but I could go through my day. I get up, I could have, if I'm single, I'm okay. I go to work, I do what I do, and physically. But to start, we have to take care of ourselves physically first, right? Yeah. Because if I'm not in good physical health, I'm not going to be in good mental health, and vice versa. And so it's making sure, I'm eating well, I'm going for my walks, I'm meditating, I'm praying, whatever I do to calm myself. I am, having relationship, being social, not withdrawing. Another sign that, things are off, it's for somebody who's social or even not especially social. They start withdrawing, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to stay in. I don't want to answer the phone, and I have plans with my friends and I start canceling them because I'm not looking forward to it. So that's telling you something is off there, eh?
Or you celebrate when I was going to say,
go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. No, like you celebrate when a meeting gets canceled and you're just like, feel relief.
You never have that feeling, right, Ryan?
Okay.
So Harris Marketing wants to follow up on what you said about the white therapist and saying, how do I know if a white therapist, I like to say non-melanated therapist, has done the work to be culturally informed? Good question.
Well, you know what? They usually advertise that way. 1 and 2, it's the conversation that, someone is going to have with you, right? Mm-hmm. Are they respectful? And you can ask them,
True.
There's nothing wrong with asking, because I tell people, even when they come to me, I said, you know what, this is our first session. And if I'm not the therapist for you, no offense, you find somebody else. Because there's no point in going through all this and then finding, 2-3 sessions in, this is not the person for me, when I have already, start spilling my beans to them.
All right. Another question here. Charmin is asking, how do you manage your mental health given the numerous exposure to other people's mental health issues and your own life challenges?
Yeah. That's a very good question, right? And so we have to practice extreme self-care. I must admit, though, that when COVID started for the first year of it, I was not doing that, because the demand increased so greatly that I was just taking client after client. And people in the helping professions, they tend to be, how do I say it, take care of others more than themselves,
Absolutely.
Ryan said, when a meeting get canceled, you get happy. That's when I know, if I get a no-show and I'm like, yay, it's time to take a break. So
Right.
yes, I take my breaks. I moderate the way I take clients. And I realize that, you know what, I'm one therapist. And if I can't take a client, there's somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way.
And that's one piece where I find in our community, a lot of times when you're not there, there isn't somebody else. And so you feel obligated to be the person, because you're pretty much letting this person stay in the street. Like, if you're not going to step up, even though you're drained and tired and would rather rest,
Yeah.
they need the help. So I could definitely see that strain on you.
Right. And that is why what I've been doing since the pandemic, I must admit, is I take clients, ACB clients. That's what I do. They have the priority.
Nice. Farley is saying, I would argue that it is just the fact that Black students do better when taught by qualified Black teachers. Black clients should inherently find greater benefit from qualified Black therapists.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because research shows that a Black client will go to a white therapist once and not return. They'll spend more time in therapy when they have a Black therapist. Let me put it that way. And research shows that.
Good stuff. Caribbean Leapfrogging says, how do you reconcile the fact, this is a really good one for you. How do you reconcile the fact that the Christianity church has one of the biggest contributors of trauma for Black people? Slave plantation system, colonialism, neo-colonialism. Good question.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. And that is why when at New Covenant we do counseling, we keep it separate from anything church, right? It doesn't have to be religion. As a matter of fact, I don't know, our clients are not church members. They may be from another church, right? But they are not church members. They're just people from everywhere. As a matter of fact, from all over Ontario. And
Wow.
the therapists we use, it's not just me, because I'm just one person, but we have Black ACB therapists from all over Ontario. And these are therapists, Black women who are in good standing with their colleges, their accrediting colleges, their professional associations. They're trauma informed, and they work with that, culturally informed lens. So that's the people we use. And when it comes to the colonialism and stuff, a lot of us counselors, we've had to do our work and recognize what's going on. And yes, I know the church can be problematic. And I am from a Black church, and we've always been into mental health. And, that's another, that's for another show.
Yes.
We've always been into mental health. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Another good question here. What does the pipeline of Black therapists look like? Is this a career path celebrated in our community?
I really can't give a definitive answer to that, but I know now there are a lot more young people who are reaching out to me and asking me, how do I get on that path?
Mm.
And so, it's becoming more. But what I would like to see is more Black men.
You were reading my alleged mind because you
Okay.
said women. You said women, and I said, okay, what about Black men in this
Right.
area?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you feel there is a lack of Black male representation in this field?
First of all, I don't want to, paint with a brush across the line, but a lot of Black men think therapy and counseling they don't think highly of it. Let me put it that way. We can take care of our business. We can do, what we have to do. Why do you want to talk to somebody? Like a couple would come in my office and they'd sit there and I'm like, so why are you guys here? And the gentleman would say, ask her. She's the one who wants counseling.
Gosh. Oh no.
Yeah. Or she brought us here, right?
Oh
yes.
Because it's like in a sense, they may feel I'm giving up control. Somebody's going to tell me how to live my life, which is not so. But it's that. So I don't know if that mentality and that way of thinking has anything to do with the fact that a lot of them are not considering. There are some though, but hopefully that will change.
Farley's saying he's using one of my terms, non-melanated medical practitioners subscribe to the nonsense that Black people can endure more pain and more stress. If we are not perceived as equals, then we can't be expected to be treated as such.
True. Women giving birth, there are statistics that show that when it comes to pain relieving medication of whatever kind, white women, or let me say non-melanated women.
See, I got some new dialect into our conversation these days. There we go.
Yeah, are given that, whereas a Black woman,
that's true.
She can take the
studies. I've seen the studies. I verify what I've seen all those studies. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very, very true. As we start winding it down here, we want to know what is the NCAC doing to address gender-based violence and mental health in the Black community?
Okay, so like I said before, for 20 years we've been doing it on our own through the church and with counselors that would collaborate with us. And now it's been upped, let me put it that way. We are given more counseling because of COVID, we have gotten some support from the financial support from the Canadian Women's Foundation. And that has allowed us to take on more counselors.
Excellent,
and so, yes. So we were happy for that. And so we give free counseling to the women.
What about to the men?
Okay.
We have to get her more funding for that.
Actually, there are programs for men elsewhere. But, with gender-based violence, it's both ways. But we know it's heavily weighed toward the woman.
Yeah.
And so that's why we go with the woman and the Black woman, right?
Okay. Ryan,
wonderful.
Go ahead, Lesline. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying when Black and racialized women are more prone to violence, to gender-based violence, and when they seek help, they're less likely to get it. So,
Ryan?
No, listen, I just want to say thank you. These are conversations that I would not have otherwise. So being able to have you on this show and hear your expertise, I feel like it's going to ripple out, and we want to definitely get this replay going throughout the community because it's so needed. So I just wanted to say thank you before.
Yeah. Ray has a question here. He says, what ideas do you have to reach more ACB people to help us decide to take the step to get counseling?
Yeah. So one thing I have to mention before, okay, so first of all, we advertise in black, like for example, I think it's the Ottawa Black Scene or Black Ottawa Scene, that newspaper with Godwin. We advertise online there, and there are Facebook pages and all that we have. I know we need to do more, but during COVID we were thinking, just before COVID we were thinking of making flyers and going to these places and leaving them, like the hairdressers and barbershops and stuff, but we never got to that because of COVID. So now we're thinking about doing more of that. But of course, everything being online now, we have to step that up. And we are working on expanding a website where, it's called ACB African Caribbean Black Mental Health.org. And we're working on expanding that. So it's going to be like a clearinghouse of information for Black mental health.
Excellent.
Yeah, one of the things we're doing too is very soon we're going to be launching that. We have an online curriculum for Black mental health. This is a separate thing with, for anxiety, depression, where women could go, or men, anybody could go there and learn about depression, anxiety, and there's a third one that I can't bring to mind right now. And it's a 24/7 thing. And the reason we did it that way is, first of all, accessing. They can access it anytime. And with many women working non-traditional hours, they're not 9-to-5ers and their times are limited. They could go to that online curriculum courses and learn anytime, at night when they have a moment, whatever, and there's not the stigma of, reaching out to mental health care. This is private in your own home.
Farley has got a comment here, 100% in agreement with the Christianity comment. Leaving it to God is not therapeutic. Quote, the Lord helps those who help themselves, unquote. If you believe in the colonizers' God, that is, what is a Black church? I think he's just using it as an open question. Next up, Harris says, can we use our benefits to pay for your services?
Yes. The service we offer through New Covenant Apostolic Church is free. But any one of our counselors, yes, you can use your benefits. Sun Life, Great West, Manulife, whatever. We're all fully accredited therapists. I'm a registered psychotherapist, so most insurance companies pay me.
So Farley's asking which mental health supports are covered by OHIP.
Now, there are some some groups out there, like online programs, right, that are covered by OHIP, and you don't need a doctor's recommendation to use it. Now, I am not going to, I guess it's good if that's your only choice, but generally, we're not covered by OHIP. Mental health generally is not covered by OHIP. Unless you're going through a psychiatrist who is also a medical doctor, and they're covered by OHIP. So one of the things I'm saying is that public policies should work to eliminate these inequities, right? OHIP should be expanded to cover mental health care.
Yeah.
So someone could go to their doctor say, go speak to someone, and they could go, and without having insurance or having to go into their pockets and pay, because not everybody is insured.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. I think we're coming to the end. This is a whole question in itself. How to deal with personality disorders. That's a whole hour in itself.
Yeah, that's
that question. So what I'm going to suggest, Niveen Dominic Cosmetics, I would say reach out to Lesline through her website or through her email. And I think that's an offline, because that's a whole hour in itself. That is a whole conversation. That's a separate conversation from what we were chatting about today. So Lesline, go ahead.
I was going to say that's going into the Eurocentric DSM-5.
And I don't know what that means, so that's above my pay grade, right? So just leave it at that. So Lesline, thank you so much, as always, to take your time to care about us.
You're welcome.
Really and truly. And we have to do something to get more Black men as practitioners.
Yes.
It's a lagging area, and our Black men need it.
Yes. Yes.
One last thing I want to ask you. An associate of mine a few years ago, Black lady, said, Dr. Vibe, every Black person needs a therapist. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Honestly, I think we're all traumatized. We all have PTSD.
Yes.
Okay. All
I
right.
know that's a general throughout.
No,
there.
but it's honest. Okay. Well, look,
Because
thank you
it
so
comes down the line, eh?
Yeah.
It comes down. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Please take care of yourself, and you and I will always be in touch. And thank you for all the support for what we do here on this platform and others. It's appreciated. It's appreciated.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too, and everybody looking on. Have a great day.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. There we go. So Ryan, sound like you just sat in the audience and just listened on that one.
Yes. Yes. Hey, when the information is coming in that is needed to be heard, that's when you definitely have to listen and just take it in. Cool. So that was a great conversation.
Yeah, and for those, there is Lesline's website and email address if you want to touch base with her. So we have that there. So yeah, so what is up? Well, we got some more comments here. Let's just see. Andrea saying, great discussion. Mateus, question, what if you live outside Ontario? Contact Lesline. I say contact Lesline. I'll put her contact information up one more time for those who would like to get in touch. And there you have someone who has experience over more than, I'm still going to say about 30 years, to be honest, experience of our people in this area. So please ask the questions. So what's going on this weekend?
Wonderful. So this weekend, a couple things are happening. There's a Mother's Day pop-up happening by Jamal from M-Pro Graphics. So if you want to support Black-owned businesses, definitely connect with us. I'll send out his information. I was telling him he should pop on so that we can actually have him tell people about what's going on.
Okay, we can have him drop on really quick at the end here.
Yeah. Oh,
Jamal,
is he there?
Hello.
Yes,
hey, what's up? How's it going?
Outstanding. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for asking. How are you fine gentlemen doing today?
Outstanding.
Fantastic.
Still Black.
Well, respect to both of you for doing what you guys are doing every morning and highlighting businesses and Black culture. So thank you very much.
Our pleasure. And
go ahead.
No, I just want to say we want to highlight you because you've been doing these pop-ups to support Black businesses. And I haven't seen a lot of people working as hard as you to really get your vendors and your network the spotlight so that people can support them and they can support their families. So please tell us about what's happening this weekend.
Hey, what's up? Well, thank you for that shout out and thanks for giving me the opportunity to let the massive know what's happening. So my name is Jamal. I have a company, M-Pro Graphics. We deal with graphic design, printing, innovative solutions, and creative marketing. Part of the creative marketing and innovative solutions includes these different pop-up shops and events that we do to help Black businesses elevate, get to the next level, and just do what they got to do to progress and proceed further. So this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday, we have our annual event. It's called A Tribute to Mom. So we're actually celebrating 15 years this year. So
wow.
Yeah. So we're doing it with 2 days. Yes. This event me and my mom have put together and we do it with our family. So we got 2 days this year with all the vendor support that I've been getting over the last couple months. We've had to force to kind of do this into 2 days.
What?
So the first day, I got to big up all the vendors and all the hustlers that are out there to progress themselves, right? So I'm just here to help provide the outlet to do what I can do. So we got to shout out the businesses and we got to shout out the patrons and supporters. But with that being said, on Saturday, we have a shoppers market featuring some of the hottest brands in the city and some of the top DJs selling their products and services. And on Sunday, we actually have a taste market, which is going to feature a bunch of different food vendors and drink vendors. In addition to that, because it's Mother's Day Sunday, on the Sunday, We also have a fashion show, and we have live performances by Chelsea Stewart. So she's Juno nominated singer-songwriter, very soulful singer. And what makes it even better is Chelsea Stewart, her mom is her manager, and she works closely with her mom in all her business matters. So that was one of the things that helped
family
resonate.
business. Family business.
I love that. Yes.
These are the things that help resonate with me. So we were happy to have her involved. And again, if you check out her YouTube, she's a wonderful, soulful singer. And the tickets are only $10. So we're not trying to kill nobody. We're not trying to break nobody's pocket. We know the venue is a little bit further east. So we want you guys to take your extra money, spend it on gas, spend it on the vendors.
What's the address?
Spend it on something nice for the ladies. Come out and enjoy the vibes this Saturday, 600 Wentworth Street in Oshawa.
Okay.
All right. Well, and I hear rumor that you may be coming on with us on Monday. Is this true?
Yep. Ryan told me that there might be some space available on Monday. So if that's the case, I'll be there. And
all right. Well, look,
with that being said, I'm going to let you guys know about the next event on Monday. So you guys are going to be the first ones to release the new information coming Monday.
Well, fantastic. Well, look, thanks for popping in and sharing that news with us. And thank you so much, especially for everything you have done, are doing, and will be doing for our people. And 15 years, we have to talk about that, because anything that's running for 15 years that looks like us, that's helping our people, we need to celebrate. So first of all, thanks for taking time. Second of all, thank you for all you do, and looking forward to hearing great stuff on the weekend. And we'll see you on Monday with all the great things, all the celebration, post-celebration news.
Definitely.
And people can get tickets at the website right there?
Yes, you can go on my website to get information. If you want to purchase tickets, you can check Eventbrite, a tribute to mom. You'll see it pop up. Also, people, I want you guys to make sure that you check out Ryan's daughter's book. It's called Jazz and Dad Have a Lemonade Stand. So make sure you guys check out, because we're bigging up all dad entrepreneurs and every parent that's encouraging their child to do progressive things. So shout out to Ryan Knight, shout out to Detailing Nights, shout out to Jazz and Dad Start a Lemonade Stand. Go look at that book, people.
How much he paid you for that spot? All right, I'm just joking. Look,
thank you for that.
Have a great weekend, and we'll chat with you on Monday. Thanks for
actually, I have
oh, there we go.
It must be close to me.
Well, but that's an important thing as an entrepreneur. You should always have your business close to you.
Yes,
because you never know when people are going to ask and mention it.
Exactly.
So that's a very, very important 100%. Thing. Jamal, we'll chat with you on Monday. Have a blessed weekend, my brother. Thanks again.
Thank you, and have a great
care. There we go. Love little promo for Ryan Knight. This is the Ryan Knight show, man. This is a Ryan Knight show. I'm telling you. So a few other things have dropped in from our family. Great. Okay. The website for the culturally informed mental health website, the African Black Caribbean mental health care site, is right there. ACBMH.org. So that was shared by Andrea. Thank you so much. It's African Black Caribbean mental health care. Ray says, I would love to support events like these, but I never hear. How do we change that? Exactly. Support Black media, support the Dr. Vibe show, and we have people like that, but we are working on that. We are working on increasing our reach and getting it out to more ears, eyeballs, hearts, and minds. All right. Yes. And Farley says, important show, gentlemen. Thank you, Farley. Much appreciated. So I think we covered what you're doing on the weekend, did we?
Yes.
Okay.
How about yourself? What's happening?
That's a good. I have my State of Things with Isha and Jill tomorrow night. And then Sunday afternoon, Black Canada Talking Roundtable. Scheduled guests include L. Jones, Cesar Nudima Musa, and Sarah Youngo. And again, folks, I'm going to say it again. The last Black Canada Talking we did, go to the YouTube page. Wow, L. Jones laid fire the first 20 minutes. She was just laying fire. But
love it.
These are I'm so blessed to have people who look like me, who are more intelligent than me in a lot of areas, just sharing things that we don't get a chance to chat about. So pretty quiet. We're not going to get any rain this weekend, so hopefully I can get some yard work done, and also onboarding more interns to help this get bigger, better for all of you. So that's what we're doing this weekend.
Solid.
And also doing some barbecuing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So as always, we'd like to say thanks to everyone who watches live on the replay. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. We say live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just, and this is applicable for today's conversation, especially with Lesline, don't just manage your time, manage your energy.
Yep.
And also we have some really good guests coming up working on. One of our future guests is Ray Williams, who is the head of the Black Opportunity Fund. So he is booked in the next few weeks. And if you know any guests, please reach out to us. We're always looking for great guests because it makes you more informed. It makes all of us better. Oh, and I think we have got one more thing. How do we reach Jamal? He had his website. So you're gonna have to watch unless Ryan, you have it written down or contact information.
I will blast that out to everybody because
you
did share. So if you're on our newsletter or in my WhatsApp, you will get it in about 5 minutes.
There you go. And the other way is just look at the replay of this. Just turn on the last five minutes. You'll be able to get it. All right. So everybody, take care. Have an outstanding weekend. We will see you Monday morning with Jamal at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Take care. God bless.